Welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. We're not looking for people who want to find themselves, we're looking for people who want to create themselves. If you have a few pixie dust sprinkles of honesty, open mindedness, and the willingness to try, welcome aboard. I'm Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist, and today we're joined by one of our continuing guests, one of our most frequent guests. I suggest that you check our Instagram out, check her reels out, that the recovery message that she has to carry is very well, and we're welcome back to the show, Tara.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I know that your throat and you pushed through to join our podcast tonight. So could you give to our listeners a brief summary of Tara and what got you to this moment?
So I've been in recovery for a while, and I met you through a podcast that I have that is speaker tapes, essentially just experience, strength, and hope. I record speaker meetings, and you shared on there, and then you brought me on here, and I've been on here a few times to just kind of do check-ins and where I'm at in my journey in sobriety. My sobriety date is February 24th, 2016. Though my last drink was January 2014. So I internally celebrate both days. They're both important to me. And now I'm still doing the recovery thing and here to talk to you about what's been going on, I guess, over the last year since we last spoke.
Yes, it's been since a year since we last spoke, and the message that you have particularly resonates with many of the folks out in the recovery community, even for folks perhaps that have no issues with drugs or alcohol, but are struggling with other issues. And as we say, Tara, everybody's in recovery from something. So you mentioned that you had got a new sponsor and were refocusing, restructuring your program. Could you say more about that?
Last year, at the beginning of the year, my sponsor found out that she had terminal cancer and spent the better part of last year dying from cancer. She passed away right after Easter this year, but I was without sponsor during the time she was passing, understandably so. She was busy dying. I asked this woman to be my sponsor. Actually, I asked her during my recording session. Lori S. I'll tell you what episode she is on my podcast, episode 263. Also, I'm really sick, so my voice doesn't normally sound like this. I don't know if we said that, but either way, I was recording Lori's experience, strength, and hope, and I asked her about her sponsoring and what it looks like when she sponsors women. And I was really impressed with her answer. So I asked her during the Q&A if she would sponsor me, and she said yes. And so the day after I asked her to sponsor me, my sponsor passed away, which was really like a wink from her because she said, you have to get a sponsor before I pass away. So it was obviously she did not wait, and she had no knowledge of this at that point in her illness, but it made me, it was just very special. So my sponsor passed away. I have a new sponsor, and I'm in a whole new sponsorship group of women. And for the first time in my sobriety, because I got so sad and so broken about losing my sponsor. And, when one person dies, you're often bringing up everyone's death that you've ever lost. At least that's how it seems to process in my mind. And so I was having a really hard time all fall and in the beginning of the year, as I had my sponsor there, but she wasn't there. and she was medicated and I couldn't talk to her. And it was just a lot of loss that was really drawn out. And so I got to such a dark place that when I asked Lori to be my sponsor, for the first time in all of my sobriety, I said, I'm willing to do whatever you tell me to do. So I now have a sponsor that I do whatever she tells me to do for the first time in 9 years of sobriety.
And that is because
It got so dark. I mean, I thought in sobriety, like once I had all the tools, everything would be fine. And I thought I had all figured it all out and that life would never be really, really, really hard again. And maybe that is true in some cases, but generally speaking, it seems to get harder and I just need to implement the tools. Um, so I do a morning routine, and everything started dropping off. I was down to just going to one meeting a week and doing the podcast, which I post a new story every Thursday. So I had gotten down to the bare minimum of my program, and spiritually, emotionally, physically, it all got very, very dark and very, very sad. Um, and the day that I recorded Lori, it was dark and sad and lonely, and it came with a dose of anxiety that morning that I woke up to record her that I had not battled with in a long time. And so the darkness of that moment was the impetus to me asking her, this stranger that I don't even know, to be my sponsor. Um, and I think that's one of the learnings out of this is the pain is necessary. The pain and the suffering for me are absolutely necessary to get me to do something different. So however much I hate the pain and the suffering.
while pain is a reality in life, the suffering can be optional should we choose. But what was it about her story that led you to ask her to sponsor you?
Oh, it was actually the way that she has I've had a very strong program before and I was not humble about it. I did it very wrong. And I literally, like, probably the first time you recorded me, maybe the second time, probably not last May, but, um, I when I had a strong program in the past, I was not humble about it. I was just like, "Well, just do what I'm doing, do all of these things, and you'll be happy too. Just do this." I lacked empathy. Um, and so I think the suffering is not exclusive to just my sponsor passing away. I've had I think I shared already about some physical ailments and things like that. But um, to answer your question, she has a very strong program and she does not have that expectation of all that she does. She doesn't put that on her sponsees. She gives grace to everyone and allows them to be where they're at in their life or in their journey. And that was really attractive to me. Her ability to have a strong program and have high standards for herself, um, but not impose those on other people. And that was very attractive to me. As a matter of fact, I said, when I get a new sponsor, I want it to be a mother who has grown children, and preferably, a grandmother, but definitely somebody that's married so that they can, understand when I'm going through my marriage stuff. And she's not married, nor does she have children or grandchildren. So, mhm.
Well, something must have resonated with you, and we always look at things as opportunities as rather hindrances. Tara, the Buddhists call depression the long night of a dark soul.
Mm.
It kind of sounds like where you were at.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even say that I'm out of it, to be honest. But I feel better protected with a sponsor and getting back into the book and reading the book and starting the steps again. Because that was what I promised my previous sponsor, that I would do all the steps with my new sponsor uh, as soon as possible. So there is relief in the steps. I know that. I know that for a fact. I just have to take the action to do them. Uh, and when the pain gets bad enough, I'm willing to do something different. I found myself there.
Well, then the pain can motivate you. I think we've talked before about there's people having this Pollyannish type of statement saying, God doesn't close one door without opening in another. But in the 12 step world, we say that's true, but it can be hell in the hallway. So,
Yeah,
so the whole idea about these 12 steps is giving us the tools to navigate the hallway. And Tara, that's what a lot of life is about, navigating the hallway.
not to change subjects, but this might. Uh, my my 26-year-old, who is going to be a father here any day now. Um, I was texting him and my daughter-in-law, "Do you guys have a swing? Do you have a thermometer? Do you have a?" I'm going through like, what's left? What do we have to get? And my son texts back and he's like, "I don't want to be a part of these conversations about baby supplies." And that was so rude. And so I responded with very nicely telling him that he's ungrateful. And and I was falling asleep that night. I mean, I don't destroy relationships like I used to. My message really was very nicely, "Hey, there's an opportunity to be more grateful here, William." And I went to bed that night and I realized, "Oh, god damn it. Part of this dark hallway is that I forgot to be grateful." Like, what happened to I am grateful. We do a gratitude jar in our house every Sunday. We write out, each family member, I write it, says what they're grateful for. So in my head, I'm grateful. I'm actively grateful. But in my heart, I haven't been feeling it because I've been so focused on my suffering
Hmm.
that I stopped paying any attention to all the things I have to be grateful for. And what happens, like Wayne Dyer says, that which you focus on grows. And I haven't been growing my gratitude. So another side tangent from that is just a reminder that every time I give somebody advice or a suggestion, usually my children, I need that for myself as well. So kind of looping in a few topics there, but yeah, gratitude has been lacking in my heart lately, though I have so much to be grateful for, like the grandbaby on his way.
Well, none of us is perfect. The book says it's progress, not perfection. And keep in mind to give yourself some grace, Tara, that you had a seismic episode in your life with your sponsor passing.
It is the first time that I am processing not just her death, but all death. I actually, um, this book was recommended to me, excuse me, by somebody. I want to say it was like episode 10 on Keep Coming Back, and I'm almost to episode 300 now. But so this was recommended to me, but it's gonna be backwards to you. Maybe not. The Grief Recovery Handbook
Okay.
is so good. I'm only reading a couple pages a day. So you can see I'm not very far in it, but that's as much as I can process on the death topic in one day is that I read one section a day. Um, like I said, I'm willing to do anything. I'm like, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to do everything it tells me to do because it's also an active program. It's a program of action. The book is, um, so yeah, I'm willing to clean house in my side of the street on another level this round.
Well, I can share something with you. My own sponsor of over 25 years passed away 2 months ago. He died. He died peacefully, and he died sober. So, he and I had a lot of, obviously, many memories over the years, and although it was bittersweet, I smile every time I think of him, Tara.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's really sweet. I'm not there yet, but I'll get there.
Well, uh, in our society, especially in America, we're not taught how to grieve properly. You get 3 days bereavement leave at most positions, and then you're supposed to come back to work like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's so great about this book is it's based in data and it it it's not just I don't know, I really love the fact because when you talk about a qualitative experience like death that's so unique, it's very hard to quantify and give recommendations, but when you base it in this type of research, years and years of research, uh, it's easier for me to digest and respect. And that they talk about it opens up with talking about all of the ways we're taught wrong. And I can check off every one. I'm like, oh yeah, I was taught that. I was taught that. I was taught that. I was taught that. Time makes everything better. And all of these, it could be worse. All of these little things that we're taught. You got to be strong for the kids. That are all really, really harmful. I'm learning from the book to properly healing. And the book could be for divorce too. Any loss. It doesn't have to be death.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, we often suggest to people that they embrace their feelings and embrace their grief.
Yeah. I do start to embrace it. And then I feel like somebody's watching me and I'm being ridiculous and I'm being dramatic.
That's your subconscious mind from all of the nonsense that we've all been indoctrinated with over the years.
Yeah.
So we just
Yeah.
have to be able to understand, to be able to look at these thoughts rather than from them. Like we talk about in the 12-step world, Tara, you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. So, and a lot of times we need help with grief. We need help with sorting out the feelings that we have.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I think that's why the meetings work, the between the meetings and sponsorship and fellowship, you get so many opportunities to hear yourself and hear from I don't know, I feel like we've talked about this, I'm sure. I feel like my higher power speaks to me through people in the rooms. So getting direction and guidance and being heard is a regular part of my life when I'm an active member of AA.
Well, in the 12-step world, we believe that if we're present and aware that the divine, the creator, will put people, places, things, circumstances, and events in our life, and if we're there to witness them, then it'll have some meaning for us. But unfortunately, there's so much chatter going on in our head that we wouldn't know that if creation was happening 10 feet away from us. We'll be back next week with another podcast with our guest Tara Vieira, sharing her thoughts and feelings about life and 12-step recovery and how it's affected her in her life. So, the free prescription can cash anywhere at the Fruits, Nuts, and Vegetables. Unplug the television and take up fishing. For a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. If we're all not God's children, then none of us are. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.